Let's get it in Jeremiah. Now, Jeremiah 44 and 17, and we're going to go right back. You have it?
Yes.
Read it.
Jeremiah 44, verse 17. But we will certainly do whatsoever things go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her.
See that? So not only were we following the God of the Tetragrammaton, we were pouring out drink offerings to the Queen Mother of Heaven. This happened to us before the Romans. We were becoming Babylonian while in Israel, which led to our fall. Read.
As we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of heaven,
when we began to deal with the holy days of the Queen of heaven, which is what? Easter today, which is Mother's Eve, which is really what? Christmas Eve. Since we began to burn incense and bake cakes, that means they would come together and grab wood and all that and make a ceremony to this woman and her child. Read.
And to pour out drink offerings unto her. We have wanted all things.
Since we began to follow the Gentiles' deities, we as a people have begun to want all things. That means now we're not receiving nothing from our Father. We're lacking now because we're following it. And that's why they made Christmas what? They made it a tradition, knowing that as long as we follow it, we would lack help from our Father. So now what do the pagans do? They have a custom now. Since we lack getting things from our Father, there's a ritual under the Roman Empire that the masters or the bosses and the leaders must for one day serve the slaves. For one day, for that time period, they must do what? Give gifts to slaves, knowing that what? The Most High is not dealing with us during that time. So they filling in the blanks by them serving us. So what they'll do, they have a Christmas party where the boss now is the nice guy giving everyone things and all that. It's a ritual under ancient Rome. And here it is, only one day of the year, you're looking at this guy saying, you know what, man, he's really nice.
Right.
He got his foot all up in you through the whole year. And you're looking at him on his days like, man, he put his head down, man. He's really, but this is a ritual. Under their rituals, they must serve their servants that time of year to gain prosperity for the year to come. It's a ritual. He's still that same guy with his foot.
That's right.
Okay. Now let's go back to the name here. So I'm tying it all together because it's just not the Queen Mother of Heaven and the Virgin Child. It's Satan at the helm, the God of the Tetragrammaton. We're going to show you. It says the proper name of the God of Israel in the Hebrew Bible. Let's see if this is so. Because you're right in your original answer that no, this is not the true name of the Most High. You were right. A matter of fact, it's going to tell you during this that they injected the name so that they can hide the true name. It tells you that the Masoretes did it. So they gave this as a substitute so that the people could not call on the right name. But what people they was really trying to hide it from? Us. Us. Because the Gentiles always called on lesser gods and pagan gods. So they was looking to hide it from us. They'll say, well, we can't say the name because it would be taking his name in vain. No, they don't want you to know it. You got it? Go ahead. The consensus among scholars
The consensus among scholars is that the historical vocalization of the Tetragrammaton at the time of the redaction of the Torah.
So there was a redaction of the Torah in the 6th century, which means they redacted something. Redacted means to blot something out. Read.
The time of the redaction of the Torah, 6th century BCE, is most likely Yahweh.
It says Yahweh, but we're going to see. Read.
The historical vocalization was lost because in Second Temple Judaism, during the 3rd to 2nd century BCE, the pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton came to be avoided, being substituted with Adonai.
Being substituted with Adonai, which is Lord, another name for Satan. Read.
The Hebrew vowel points of Adonai were added to the Tetragrammaton by the Masoretes.
It was added to the Tetragrammaton by the who?
By the Masoretes.
By the Masoretes. Masoretes are Jewish scribes that was used to scribe their God into our Hebrew records. Read.
And the resulting form was transliterated around the 12th century.
It was transliterated around the 12th century. So these are things, these are newly names came up to be introduced to slaves. Read.
It was translated around the 12th century as Yahuwah.
As Jehovah. The Jewish people did this. Are you following me? Read.
They derived forms of Lahuah and Jehovah first appeared in the 16th century.
Jehovah first appeared in the 16th century. Right? Now, let's go back real quick now. Because I'm under what? I'm under Yahweh. Right? Which is another name for Jehovah, right? I'm going to give you the original. Brace for this. And they don't even hide it anymore. You go to Wikipedia on Yahweh, which is the same name for Jehovah, and they'll show you an ancient artifact. Read that artifact for me, Elder Zionaz. It says a drachm.
A drachm, quarter shekel.
This is a shekel. Read.
Coin from the Persian province of Yahud.
Hold up. A shekel coin from the Persian province of Yahud, Medinata. Read.
Apparently showing the god YHW, Yahweh, as a bearded man seated on a winged and wheeled throne.
Seated on a what?
On a winged and wheeled throne.
Wing and wheeled throne. That's why they have the wheel and all that in Babylonian Roman customs when you look in the temple. This is the God right here, Yahweh. So here they have an artifact of their God. Now check this out now. I need you to read what it says about Yahweh in Wikipedia right here. Read it.
Yahweh, in English Hebrew, is the national God of the ancient kingdoms of Israel, Samaria, and Judah. His origins are mysterious, although they reach back to the early Iron Age and even the last.
It says his origins are mysterious. Now, linking back to this sitting on a wheel. Go on. His origin is what?
His origins are mysterious.
Because what we know that he's synonymous. Yahweh is synonymous with what? Jehovah. It's the Tetragrammaton Yahweh or Yehovah or Yahweh. Read.
Although they reach back to the early Iron Age and even the late Bronze, his name may have begun as an epithet of El.
An epithet of El.
Head of the Bronze Age Canaanite pantheon.
Canaanite pantheon. He was the god of the Canaanites. He was the god of the Canaanites. The Canaanites had the first religion under Satan at the helm. Esau being rejected because he gave up his birthright. sought the Canaanite God after the promise went to Jacob. So when we fell, they did what? They exalted the Canaanite God Yahweh as the God over the world. And that's why you see this name on a Masonic temple in church in Europe with Jehovah now doing what? Going back out into the heaven. The same way they planned to do at ancient Babylon with Nimrod, the son of the Queen Mother of Heaven. They set up the first religion to get him what? Back into the heavenly realm, which is the plan of the New World Order. He's the father of the virgin child that you're celebrating December 25th. And his name is what? Yahweh, Jehovah, Yahweh, the God of Christmas. Go to Isaiah 14 real quick.
And 12.
Yes, sir.
Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
How did you fall from heaven, O Lucifer? Read.
Son of the morning.
Because he was a morning star. He was one of the stars in the beginning who sang before the Most High. How did you fall? Read.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
Go on.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven.
He said in his heart that he would do what?
I will ascend into heaven.
Why is this on a Masonic door in Norwegian? Because they know the Masons, the Masons' plan is to do what? The same as the beginning, to exalt their God and to have him have a place in the heavens watching the earth. That's the New World Order's plan. He's the God of the New World Order. Read it again.
For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven.
I will ascend into heaven.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High.
And that's why you got the pyramid that's illuminated at the capstone going into the heavenly realm. And it's showing you that on a European door. He's the God of the European powers. He's the God of Rome that you're celebrating this Christmas. You're celebrating his son, Nimrod, the mother, Semiramis, who eventually had incest with her son, born December 25th. Merry Christmas. Read.
Excuse me. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the isles of the north.
Go on.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds.
I will ascend above the heights of the cloud.
I will be like the Most High.
I will be like the Most High. See? So he's to be worshipped throughout the four corners of the earth once Israel fall and the Gentiles' kingdom is set up in this earth. That's why there's so much evil and wickedness running rampant at its height, because the God of this world is not being exalted, and the people who's supposed to be exalting him is enslaved and controlled by the Gentiles, calling on their God, worshiping on their days. And you wonder why our people are being depleted and destroyed and totally compromised. This is a religious agenda against us, brothers and sisters. It's not just by chance. They're teaching us to go against each other, to attack each other. While doing so, acknowledge their God and to continue in their days and their traditions, knowing that's part of our destruction. The Bible tells us in the book of Jeremiah, he says, since we left off burning incense to the Queen Mother of Heaven, we have been in want of all things. So by celebrating the holy days, we're not their holidays, Christmas, we're not receiving the blessings from the Most High. That's why they set it up as a tradition and make it feel good with cartoons and music and just the spirit of it. They want us. They entice us to volunteer. They want us into it. Because by default, it allows them to continue their rule over us. And this is a governmental, religious day. I'm speaking of this so-called December 25th. On that Mother's Eve, you have Barack Obama and all the leaders of this world going into Rome so that they can open this temple. Yeah, all the leaders are going there so that they can open the door to whom they call Peter or Zeus and get a guide of what to do to bring forth the end of this one world order. They're opening a conclave. All the leaders of the earth will go and worship and get information from Satan. December 24th, the eve of Christmas. But they'll tell you there's a separation between church and state. When all the Masons that established that Constitution in America, when all those Masons, they understood the religious thing. It had nothing to do with drafting a constitution for freedom so that people can live free and away from tyranny. It had nothing to do with that. And it's being evident that they were together with Satan to get a direction on using America that will be the example that would eventually bring in the New World Order and have Satan go into space. They were that's the daughter of Babylon that's accomplishing what her mother couldn't in Genesis, the 11th chapter. So we're here now. They have now compromised the whole earth, taken down the whole earth through war, and have destroyed all cultures and broken all traditions of the earth and brought forth immorality, evil. Now it's time for Satan to come from behind the curtain and now get his what he feels is his rightful position as the true God of all religions with no pushback. You think the world is prepared to receive? Absolutely right. Merry Christmas. Your real God. Guess what? You've been prepared a long time. Invoking the word Santa Claus from year to year. The one that been giving you gifts, that have been blessing you. Okay? The ancient man, old Father Time. But guess what? All the religious leaders will be there to usher him in. Okay? So here it is. Are you going to follow the Bible? Or are you going to follow the God of Christmas? It's up to you. Many shall say, Lord, Lord. Did not cast out devils in your name? And he's going to look at you and say, get away from me, you workers of iniquity, for I knew you. Okay? If you're going to deal with holy days, look in the Bible. Follow those. Show our children what's right. With that, I will answer a few questions and wish you all Godspeed. Of course, I have to make a few announcements and then I'll answer a few questions. Now you all know the name of the God over Christmas.